Right, welcome to your number one consistent update on YouTube, of course, on sports, everything and about the best in terms of analysis now. Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. It's another morning, and we are very, very excited. In fact, more than excited. Some about near the analysis everywhere on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Thank you very much. So what you see, and of course, guys, say won't subscribe here. Like I've always been saying, every time the analytics come up, it shows us say a chunk of your lovers. I'm saying all across the world. No, most of you also have not subscribed a lot in terms of percentages. You're looking about 20 or so percent. I was saying subscribing to channel on the show. So saying as well subscribing to channel. You have to pause the video, go back, not subscribe to channel, not turn your notification. Send your banger anytime we are content about drop we are first to have it on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. For us there, it is supposed to be a motivation for us to keep on coming back to you, giving you consistent analysis around Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. And what say also, thank you very much. I'm the chunk of you. I'm share link, mama for friend your analysis. You need so the good work that you do for us here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. And then you sign Albert Beam and Simbibri. And then one more, we need to open up, we need to discuss in the world of sports, and in the last 24 hours some really interesting things that are also first of all, some issues here middle of Bob Boswama. Then we'll go straight into the main issues. Also, I like the conversation around Neymar da Silva Santos. I mean, one of my favorite all-time players. We are say, hey Neymar, and yes, for a lot of people like myself, we believe Neymar wasn't able to get to the best of his potential in terms of the kind of things that Neymar could have done, the kind of levels and can Neymar beat me through as a player. No, he could not get there. It saddens me, maybe because of career choices, maybe because of the people around him, but essentially back down to career choices and the decisions that Neymar, especially the time where he opted to move from Barcelona to go to Paris Saint-Germain at a time where Barca wanted him to stay, but Nkoma Yeti at the time, they said, Papa really wanted him to move on to Paris Saint-Germain because it was going to give him a different platform, a different place for him to probably be the face and the big boy and probably push for the Ballon d'Or. It never happened. According to Neymar and Kasa, Abrana Ofi Barcelona, Dani Alves, Messi, Piqué, Mukacher, and they said, Otna. He's going to win the Ballon d'Or there. And Messi's catching his over Buano, Nankwaji Ballon d'Or, El Barcelona. But that did not happen. Neymar really wanted a new experience in Ofrio called Paris Saint-Germain. In the last few hours, after Paris Saint-Germain, he went away to go and play in the Saudi Pro League. Al Hilal, Ipra, Amanem Boboni Bebri. I mean, two very crucial injuries. He played just a few number of games. Then they had to abrogate the contract. Mutually terminates the contract. That's supposed to be the phrase now. Back to where he started it all at Santos in Brazil. And just when he went back to Brazil, we're taking the Brazilian league by storm, scoring goals, scoring penalties, scoring direct corner kicks. The dribbling, the showboating, and everything that epitomizes the name and Ranamiti Axel Twazembe, who was explaining on a kind of top level footballer and what you expect from him. And he mentions Neymar da Silva, essentially talking about the technical ability of a Brentford and Neymar da Silva in the tight spaces, the ball control. Everything that you want from Neymar da Silva or Remember, of course, after going away to go and play in Santos, everybody is talking about him. A season where there is a new Neymar. Chelsea Brentford. Your friend Estevao Willian, still the conversation is about Abrantia, your friend Neymar da Silva after he went back into the Brazilian league. And what has gone on is in the last few hours, he has spoken some key moments there where they come. According to Neymar, he doesn't see he's at the end of his career. Now, if he gets the chance, he will get back to Barcelona to go and play football back in Spain. He has spoken about a lot of things. I'll run you through them here, we'll discuss all of those ones. Then after that, we'll go into real conversations in and around Neymar and then commodity in the last few days and what has gone on with him. One of the things that he says in an interview, Neymar said, I almost went to Bayern because of Pep Guardiola. After I won Puskás Award, my dad kept calling me at 2 a.m. I answered. He told me to open the door. I was in boxes. It was my dad, Pep Guardiola, and the translator. Pep told me, I want to sign you and bring you with me to whatever club I go to. I will make you the best player in the world. He shows me a paper, opens his laptop, tells me where to play. Pep also said, if you don't score 60 goals a season, I will change my name. I was saying, okay, but what team? Pep said, I can't tell you yet because it's not out yet. I convinced him. He said, I'm signing with Bayern. I know it was a cold city, but it will take care of you. In the end, I decided to join Barcelona. Wow. According to Neymar da Silva, at the time where he had won Puskas with Pep Nankasemu, Barcelona, or no Pep if free on him after the 2 years with the Belgrana. No. What happened is that one time, no Neymar da Silva, Edam Pem, at 2 a.m., ne papa Fredo. Ne papa Fredo no catching so obi a gate no she boxes. Ne papa ni translator ni. And of course, no Pep Guardiola and Sujina Nechi or Honor. Now, in that conversation, what happened was that Pep catcher and said, the next team now Ojiri said he's going to make him the best player in the world, and he's going to make him score 60 goals by and crew one a code. But then still he wants to make sure said Honor Brenton for Neymar da Silva will come with him in and a really interesting story. I think it goes and fits into the conversation of the fact that a lot of people have said several times that Pep usually wants some of the best players in the world. Pep wants the best players and likes to convince them to come with him because, of course, they're the best manager in the world. Who don't want the best players to come with him? So that's the story. According to Neymar, eventually he stayed at Barcelona. He didn't want to go to Bayern at the time. And of course, Pep convinced him through his father. Like I said several times, almost every decision Neymar made was through Nepapa. Nepapa was the main guy that handled decision making, footballing career, everything around him. No, it went through Nepapa, and that is it for Neymar da Silva Santos Jr. And he had to go back again. And he talks about Lionel Messi. I see Real Madrid's offer at the time when I was moving was a blank check. They told me I can have whatever I want, but I wanted Barca. In my heart. He told an outlet or Canal Maizika. The internet is a radio internet radio or Brazil and down for over there, and that's exactly what Neymar da Silva Santos Jr. said. Makani several times said because of colonialism and how the guys in South America were brought up. Essentially, most of them were colonized by Portugal, Spain, most of the two countries at each side of the Iberian Peninsula. And because of that, it affects and influences most of our choices when it comes to football. That is the kind of game that they watch. In fact, that's the kind of football that they know. They watch the Spanish football, they watch Portuguese football. At the very least, Umber transited from Portuguese football before they come into mainstream. When I say mainstream, I mean the big boys. And when it is a move straight from Brazil to Spain, then it's a dream move. Their best players essentially all over the world have made that move. I mean, all of them, they want to pass to Barcelona. At least it has to be Real Madrid. Now Neymar da Silva said, I don't know what Barcelona or Santos no. Now Madrid had come, and I've told a story here about how Madrid used to win Khalifa to do that. I mean, convincing of boys in Madrid to join them, boys in Brazil to join them. And key example is the story of Rodrigo Goes and how Huni Khalifa was there on his 18th birthday and tried to get him to come and play for Madrid. Obviously, it has become successful. But see, at this time, Madrid Babedi in command. It was a blank check for him. But for him, then Akuma Mudi or your boss, and he wanted to play with Messi. It was difficult for him to go to Real Madrid. And what you see, Madrid. And that's what Neymar da Silva Santos Edio Nkomo in terms of his decision making our team your friend Barcelona or now he goes on also tells Father, I can confirm the Olympic goal was on purpose. I was thinking to myself, man, if I scored this, the fans were gonna see I scored, and then I turn around to them like, well, now what? Of course, I see time and almost have direct free kick Olympic or no. And he makes sure so the fan will see it. And Neymar, I helped Messi take penalties. We were in training. He asked me, how do you take penalties like that? I was like, are you crazy? You are Messi. If I can do it, you can too. And then I taught him, and he trained. And of course, according to him, na Messi share any penalty boss now when at the time na Messi penalties no and Messi be saying how do you take your penalties and not share no and after the penalties no Messi cross to me home Bokakra. Of course, still at Barcelona, I signed a long-term contract here at Barca for a reason. I want to stay in the long term, according to Brent here, your friend Ronald Arao, Victor Roque. I may go back to Palmeiras after say Palmeiras, next year they will lose a Brent here. Your friend Estevao Williano, Victor Roque is going back to go and replace him. Oh, hold on now. Of course, that was a good one over there for both players. Now, Vinicius Jr., I want to make history after Sa being captain of Real Madrid in the last time out. A really interesting one for Tima, your friend Real Madrid over there. And in that conversation, everything that comes with guys. And now, something really huge here also. There was an outlet, an awards night. There was a symposium about football. Where Chelsea directors and other people spoke about football. And now, that symposium, and that was where Todd Boehly, Baghdad Egbali, Todd Boehly represented clearly capital. And in that conversation, a lot of interesting things that came out on him. Todd Boehly explained certain Chelsea decisions, Chelsea strategies. Now, Todd Boehly were explaining on him, and it's really interesting over there when it comes to Todd Boehly. Anything saying everything about Chelsea Football Club. It was really looked into. They did explanation. They spoke about it, and of course, it's a football insider. And I thought Boehly couldn't come on spoke about Niente Omoko, how they want to go, how he perceives the British press. He spoke about explaining Niente at Chelsea, goal scoring issues. Then of course he went on to say what they want to do in terms of the club. Todd Boehly explains all of that. Into detail, and that's something that Todd Boehly did very well. And he explains into detail why they want to keep our best players, how long they want to keep them, according to Todd Boehly. Really interesting. Somebody said, and now, something else happened. La Liga president IFN Javier Tebas accused Manchester City said 155 charges now. Use the Enron style of deception and confirms he has an active case against the club with the European Commission. He has filed it in July 2003. Man City declined to comment. Club accounts are public record, according to Javier Tebas. We're filing a case against Manchester City about their issues of their financial management of Romunio Manuel. And I see the Enron style of deception. The Enron style of deception, according to Javier Tebas, and according to him, when filing another case against Manchester City or the European Commission, or filing a case Man City said they are not going to comment on according to him, a huge thing when if you go across the internet, it's a case. So we can say the Enron style of deception. They see it as a corporate deceit and trunk of what HR. Using corporate terms, using corporate maneuvers, any turnovers, to try and find themselves at home, and that's exactly what the Enron style of deception, the Enron case, a case of corporate deceit, the Enron way. It's an issue for a very long time. And according to him, that's what Man City want to use here to try and win their case in a court of public opinion. But wait to see. According to him, since he has written to the European Court of the European Commission. They expect to say we'll hear something from the European Commission with respect to this, and if Manchester City will be allowed to go on or not go on. Bankrupt thinking, how the banks aided Enron's deception. Really interesting over there when it comes to the conversation of the Enron case with respect to Manchester City. So let's see how that one goes on. We'll talk about Todd Boehly and any explanations at Chelsea Football Club. Then we'll wait to see how Todd Boehly and come on. Also, the really interesting conversation, and we've not heard about it. You want to enjoy our analysis now of Todd Boehly and then some more kind about Chelsea and the things that they want to do. And Todd Boehly, and they're speaking at football business with the Financial Times. He said Todd Boehly money back that the Bali money, all my Americans, and Financial Times essentially is from Wall Street. Wall Street is in America. So usually they want some of America's best business or the world's best run businesses to come in, have conversations, tell them how they run their organizations, and it's and one of the key people today was Todd Boehly, obviously. Is one of the key members of the clearly consortium, you know, that constitutes also Blueco and the other members of it. And Todd Boehly, Odin Komo Bebre, he spoke about a few things. I say at the Financial Times Business Football Summit, suggested the Premier League are to be given shares each season. Once the Premier League, you know what they do, they say season BR, say who stay in the Liga, who relegation, who shares automatically, more money probably replace you know. What Todd Boehly was trying to explain, and they said every season BSM coming Ultimate League the shares the increase, but everybody just has one share our English Premier League and according to him that should change. It should have probably been a little bit more than just that. And when he has that conversation, that was one of the things that Todd Boehly didn't come out the Financial Times business on Bisano about the Chelsea ownership and the drama. In the last few months or so, one of the things that come up and he said, Nanko focus Chelsea ownership no person split it, Todd Boehly person top Blueco out, Blueco person top Todd Boehly out, Oma Fole out kakra, because these are investors. In explaining Chelsea hierarchy again, it's essentially owned by Clearlake as the majority shareholder. Baghdad Egbali and Jose Feliciano, these are two business gurus. A very good job in terms of turning around businesses who are ailing. And what Todd Boehly in Baghdad, Baghdad Egbali more, according to them, Omomi and Jose Feliciano, and Baghdad Egbali wanted to buy Todd Boehly more out, the minority shareholders not out of the club. According to Todd Boehly, Sang Semnek also in the British media now, he's saying a little bit exaggerated. I'll say the British press have exaggerated everything that was going on there. And this is what he says. I'll say the one thing I've learned about the British press is they exaggerate a lot and leave stuff out. I'm not going to comment. We have agreed on a strategy and a way forward, and the stuff is getting done. I don't look in a rear view mirror. According to him, the two owners, Feliciano, Baghdad Egbali, the other people, they have a strategy, and that's what they have all agreed on. And on only on share rear view mirror on Imasin, on Shenechi, it's about going forward and making sure the team with the partners it will survive. And that's exactly what Todd Boehly and the Baghdad Egbali more in common. Of course, Todd Boehly went on. He was asked about predicting the global football broadcaster. According to Todd Boehly, because of Sikasemni Adinti, there's going to be one global broadcaster. One person or team broadcasting EPL matches across the world. Or Sikasemni, it's going to happen. I'm not saying it's the direct answer right this minute, but I think that's where we are headed. And the owners have to be able to take some of the level of risks over there. Todd Boehly on Chelsea fan criticism. So in the last few days, Chelsea fans now crossed Stamford Bridge, and then they've done some criticisms of Todd Boehly and Baghdad Egbali and their partners about the fact that they want them to leave Chelsea Football Club. They say, you're good enough, you're not running the club or signing money. Now Todd Boehly said, I just think it is par for the course. The sooner you learn, you are not going to keep the people happy all the time. The freedom, and then freedom shows up. We are just trying to execute a plan and recognize things aren't linear. We are trending in the right direction, according to him. The trend is moving in the right direction. And that's the thing that really matters. In June, it will be 3 years in charge. That's not a lot of time, especially when you get 50, 60, 70 years in life. It's whirlwind activity and steep learning curve, but I think that's also a good thing. I'm talking about the fact that in for exercise, yes, they can't do so much about it. They have to just manage it and then see how things go. But he thinks that they are going to right. About a long-term contract, why they want to keep them. Not saying the entire Chelsea are big on keeping players and big names. And he said every sports entity that has been successful have always had a superstar player or a captain that stayed in there for a long time. And for the Americans, most of the times when they say captain, they are talking about the superstar players. And what Todd Boehly says is that Chelsea's recruitment strategy. We look at how do we put together a team that stays together. If you look at the great dynasties in sports over the years, they all had the superstar captains for many years. And part of what we look at is how we find that superstar captains or player can stay with a team for their career over there. I'm be saying about Chelsea recruitment, how that hasn't gone well in the last few days. Nothing. It's most misunderstood part of the project. The most misunderstood thing is people thinking we are measuring success in years. You have to think both short and long term. We are focused in the combination on both those things and seeking the best to execute. It's balancing act. Strikers are hard to find. You don't go into the grocery store and say, I'm going to get a striker. It's an amazing skill set, and you have to have the right mentality to execute it. And talking about the fact that yes, they've had issues, but then they look at it short term and long term to be able to judge themselves and what they are doing. And Ombisano said, Chelsea have some strategy and strategy on the start on Messana. And I'll say, Boehly on sticking to strategy. You can't turn left, turn right every 3 minutes. There might be some advice we get if we really boil it down. Of course, according to him, one to some margin and then not trying some margin, it doesn't show that it shows that they are unserious. For them, it's about sticking together, going to a strategy, and making sure that everything goes on well and in our direction. I say if Chelsea ownership will be the same in the next year, I can tell over there for himself. Chelsea ownership dynamic. Also, of course, the British press now is exaggerating Neymar Bebre, and he doesn't understand why they do that. But of course, he'll wait to see how things go on in that regard. Our British press team and how our only team, can keep themselves together and to be delivering and stuff like that. We'll see how things go on in that conversation with Chelsea Football Club and everything that's going on. Of course, this weekend Chelsea doesn't have a game; they can rest. Next week there's FC Copenhagen, our conference league game. I think around 16 or so. Then after that quarterfinal, then over the weekend there's Leicester City. Then next week there's going to be Arsenal. Then there's an international break. Chelsea saying the next set of games there, but things have to work for them. They need to get success. And still, Chelsea player Georgi Petrovic is doing excellently well. Strasbourg, and I have a feeling next summer they are going to bring him in, and he's probably going to be the #1 goalkeeper for Chelsea Football Club. Todd Boehly, and then come over, of course, guys. And then come on, BC or Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube this morning, the analysis and everything that's going on. Thank you very much. So what you see, in the next few hours are going to come. Wesley Fofana, you're back in training for Chelsea. That's some very, very good again. Very, very good thing over there for Chelsea Football Club, getting a branch friend Wesley Fofana back. And now what we're hearing, and they say a branch friend Fabrizio Romano was saying, Chelsea Fofana really trust Enzo Maresca, and is still considered the right man over there, and you have a lot of belief in him. I mean, that's all good. We'll see how that goes. Hi, Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. See you.